Hello everybody and welcome to this. It's another video in the 100% full marks exam answers series. We're looking at AQA English Literature Paper 1 Section B, looking at a Jekyll and Hyde answer. So this answer was sent in by Weeably High in Hereford. Thank you for sending this in. It's a fantastic answer. Now this question in particular was about chapter 6 in Jekyll and Hyde and how the reader sympathises with the character of Jekyll. Now you can see on the screen there are 5 ticks awarded by the examiner, 5 things worthy of credit. Put a comment in the comment section to sort of discuss what you think those ticks were awarded for. We're going to look at a couple of key points today, and here's the answer typed up. Stevenson interestingly sets the scene as contrastingly calm as opposed to the later occurrence. The gentle adjective of a premature twilight being still bright with sunset, with the connotations of bright being positive and welcoming, creates a soothing atmosphere for the reader. Perhaps this is done by Stevenson to place the reader emotionally. We are more shocked when the window is thrust down. The violent verb thrust connotes to force and brutality, displaying Jekyll as victim to something violent and unpredictable. Stevenson employs this violent verb, along with Jekyll's smile being struck out of his face, to portray the pain inflicted upon the construct, not just physically but mentally, allowing the reader to sympathise with Jekyll. Okay, so as I said, there are a number of key qualities evident in this part of the paragraph. I'm not going to talk about them all. I want to leave that open for you to discuss, but this part of the answer was credited with level 6 AO2 exploration of effects. So this student was writing about sympathy for Jekyll and how that is created. And what I really like about the effects here is that the students found something, okay? So there's a contrast between the positive language and the negative language. But a bit like in AQA English language, there's not really any point in just spotting something. It's not about device spotting, feature spotting, being able to say, here's an adjective, or here's contrast, or whatever it is, a violent verb. It's about what are the effects of those. And this student has really looked at them together and said, well, actually, not just the effect of the positive verbs or the effect of the negative verbs, but the way that they move from one to the other. And the part of the answer that was credited and labelled with level 6 exploration of effects is this bit here where we see the student has written, perhaps this is done by Stevenson to place the reader emotionally. We are more shocked when the window is thrust down. So this student's come up with a great idea, not just analysing something in isolation, not just analysing the language and the effect it has, but also looking at the structure, as we see, the contrast, we might call it the juxtaposition of language, the deliberate placement together of two very different things to create a specific effect on the reader. We see other skills evident in this piece of work. Short, concise quotations are always used by this student. This is the same student we've been looking at for 2 or 3 weeks now, so some fantastic work. And of course, being aware of the fact that the characters are not real, but they are created by a writer, in this case Stevenson, and linking everything back to the question. The question is about sympathy for Jekyll. Now, one of the things I see a lot in literature is where students remember something they've learnt in class or spot something in the extract and they just want to write about it. They just want to, as if it was to show off to the examiner, let me tell you something amazing that I know. But what we see here with this student is they are clearly linking everything to the topic of the question, sympathy for Jekyll, and it brings it back to sympathy for Jekyll at the end. So that it's not just, let me just tell you something clever that I've spotted about contrasting language, but let me tell you how that contrasting language links to the topic of the question. Now, I'm not going to tell you much more about this question because you might have it for a mock, but what I will say is that the extract had some very obvious, simple language points that students could have written about, and many students would have written about. And that just got me thinking about this fact that when you look at an extract, when you look at a question, when you're writing about a theme or a character or whatever, all of the ideas that come to your mind, that doesn't mean you need to write them all down. Let's say you have 5 different ideas. I would say that it's useful to stop and think, which of these ideas is the most perceptive, the most original, which is going to show off my ability to analyse the best? What we see in this answer is the student's ability to analyse language, but also to analyse structure and to put the two together. So this was a very clever choice of analysis by the student who did not choose some of the perhaps more obvious points. So I hope you found this video useful. Please do subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, check out my linked videos, and do get the revision guides. 381 reviews combined for just my literature and language guide. There's also a guide to Jekyll and Hyde. In fact, there are over 20 revision guides, and now they're all available in paperback on Amazon, ebook at mrbruff.com, and Kindle edition on Amazon, so do check them out.